Konami is allegedly a video game company, putting out a variety of video games, a lot of which, the older ones at least, were excellent. But sometimes things go amiss, and companies forget they own the Suikoden series and Bloody Roar, get into gambling, cancel a highly anticipated reboot of Silent Hills, which I won't show footage of because I don't trust Konami as far as I can throw them, which isn't very far because of all those fucking pachinko machines. They're quite heavy. So today on Gaming Mysteries, let's talk about some canceled Konami stuff. But not Silent Hills because I don't trust Konami. And what better way to start things off than with Contra. But what Contra game am I referring to? Why, Contra Online. Yeah, I know that concept sounds insane. But back when Konami made the decision to cancel Castlevania Resurrection for the Dreamcast, the topic I may have to revisit at some point given the discovery of a playable build. But after that was canned, and with the Dreamcast imploding around that same time, the same team behind that pitched a number of other projects. One idea suggested would be a new 3D Contra, but with online multiplayer. Classic single player and local co-op for the classic fans, but simultaneously testing out the online waters. Not a terrible idea. There is a plot summary, kinda, which I may read some of, although it's not really important to this. So let's see, Contra HQ is attacked. I'm going to skip a bunch of paragraphs. And so, blah blah blah, members of Contra forces are called in, ordered to stop Red Falcon. They were successful in defeating evil alien forces, or at least they thought so. Red Falcon had actually blah 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 when forces Contra Marines called again for the final showdown. It's like the whole plot. It's not, again, it's really not relevant to the actual game itself because it was canceled. With that said, the game's story would have been divided into 3 worlds: a submarine, underground base, and mountain trail. Those famous staples. Each to hold several levels and bosses. The game would have also let you unlock classic Contra protagonists as playable characters, which is really cool. The development team planned a variety of modes for multiplayer, with ideas like having an online versus or a co-op mode for 4 players, where teams could split up and then fight the boss together. All this said, though, it was an early pitch, and using an IP like Contra to experiment with online play might alienate fans, Konami being the experts of alienating fans with certain Contras. And so the choice was ultimately made to use another IP, like Project Overkill instead. Though in the end, disagreements between Konami of Japan and America would end up ending the American team, which would also end Contra Online. While we're on the subject of Contra, though, they had an N64 game plan called Contra Spirit 64. Sadly, plans for this game didn't get very far beyond the planning stage. It was to be a 3D side-scrolling game with some situations moving the camera angle behind the character to show off the 3D-ness of the boss fights, or what have you, polygons. However, because the N64 sold poorly, Konami deemed it to be a waste of time to work on a game for a dying system, and so members of the team working on Contra Spirits were disbanded and placed on other projects. A shame, but given the time frame, they were probably just going to ruin this Contra game too, so perhaps this is a blessing in disguise. Staying in the N64 camp, but being more of a technicality, is Bonk 64. Now, just for reference, Bonk was a series from Hudson Soft. But Konami ate Hudson Soft, and so all of their series are gone, for lack of a better explanation. Or not gone, but, Bomberman is still around. But I'll go ahead and pin this on Konami as well, even though it really isn't their fault. But, it could have been. They could have been conspiring in the background. I don't know. I don't live in Japan. Now, Bonk 64 as the name suggests, was to be a 3D bonk game for the N64, announced around the early period, 1995, I believe, where everyone was just announcing their new games for the N64, which is all fine and good. But at the time of that announcement, Hudson Soft was not yet that well versed in making games in 3D. To quote a developer, Ultra Genin, or Bonk 64, was being planned during the game industry's transition from 2D to 3D games. I studied the practical aspects of this quite a bit, but I think that nobody knew what should be done with the games at the time. As a result of trial and error, we were able to adapt the design of Ultra Genin to Bomberman Hero. So we did get a happy ending to this, as Bomberman Hero is pretty great. It's just a shame that Bomberman is the only Hudson Soft franchise that Konami can seemingly remember. But all of these may pale in comparison to the cancellation of Silent Hills. But I can't talk about that, so let's talk about Zone of the Enders 3 instead. Seemingly planned as a PS3 and 360 game, possibly cross-gen, it would have been a continuation of the Zone of the Enders story. At a preview event for the Zone of the Enders HD collection, the future of Zone of the Enders was presented. To quote, Kojima indicated that the game is currently in early prototyping phase. Producer Ryosuke Toriyama and other key staff are currently conducting tests on what can be done using the internally developed Fox engine, explained Kojima. Toriyama took the stage and revealed that he and his staff are at the state where they're making models and converting them into Fox engine assets. While this sounded exciting, due to the Zone of the Enders HD collection failing to deliver a, quote, smooth enhancement of the two original games, Kojima felt the need to reevaluate the franchise before going any further, and that the Enders Project team had been disbanded. And I'm sure internal strife with Konami and Kojima played no role whatsoever. Probably. I doubt it. Yes, actually, I think it happened. And while Konami did remaster Zone of the Enders 2, again, for the magical world of VR, the future of the series remains unclear and sad. Much like most other franchises currently owned by Konami. But those were some canceled games from Konami. Some, not all. You know, I would love for Konami to make video games again. Good ones. Just throwing that out there. That's it. This has been Gaming Mysteries. Thank you for watching. And I miss you, Bloody Roar. Come back to us. Hey everyone, Yuri of Wind here in the End Slate Zone, and I hope you enjoyed the Gaming Mysteries on those canceled Konami games, except for Silent Hills. Again, do not trust them at all. You're probably, some of you may be thinking, well, why is this End Slate so short? That's because the longer End Slates are Patreon exclusive now. So I can try and appease the algorithm. I just want to see if it'll work. So I'm doing two kinds of end slates. Crap. I didn't write any of this down. Social. Well, I have a Patreon where videos go up early, and I offer merch and other hot video I don't know. It's a thing. I stream on Twitch. I recently brought back the gameplay channel. I'm gonna start, not part, putting archives of streams up on there. I hope you enjoyed the video also, if I didn't say that. I don't know. Thank you to everyone whose name is scrolling, by the way. I love you all, even if your name isn't scrolling. Working on a couple of things for this month, although mostly focusing in on, October, right around the corner. So, yeah. Hope you enjoy the videos and whatnot. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe and notify, lick the bell. I believe that's the terminology. Go lick that bell. And, you know, I hope you enjoyed the video again. Check me out on other shit, like Twitter and fucking, I don't know. And see you next time. It's like, I have a Discord also. Anyways, it's like.